Hi everybody, I'm the Random Shit Chef, and you're not. That wasn't good. So, yesterday was voting day here in St. Petersburg, Florida, and my wife was working on one of the voting stations. Today we were electing mayors and city councilmen and other representatives. So I needed to have something flexible for dinner because I didn't know when she was going to be here. So I decided to make chicken and ham pinwheels. This is a recipe I ran across about 25 years ago. It's simple but not simple, and it has actually pretty simple ingredients. I'm going to be using chicken breasts, salt, pepper, garlic, Italian seasoning, some thinly sliced ham, like lunch meat, and some Swiss cheese. The original recipe just called for the chicken, the ham, and the seasoning. I like to stick the Swiss cheese in to ramp it up a little bit. I usually take these two half breasts, put the ingredients in, and then roll it up and sew them together with toothpicks. Today I'm just going to make two small ones like the original recipe said. I've never done the two small ones, so bear with me. It's loud, it can potentially be a little bit sloppy, but the final product is actually pretty cool and tastes pretty good. You take and you roll these up, put them in the oven at 350 for about a half hour, take them out, and then you can stick them in the fridge overnight. Now the original recipe did not call for the Swiss cheese like I put in there, and it is easier to roll them up if you don't put the cheese in. So you may want to try it with just the ham the first time, and if you like the recipe, do like I do and add the cheese to ramp it up and make it even more scrumptious. Let's start flattening out the chicken. So you may have noticed that this is a little bit obnoxious. I wouldn't recommend doing it if you live in an apartment and somebody lives below you. But the main object here is to get it down to about 1/4 of an inch overall thickness. And you want to be careful not to pound on it too hard because you'll start to shred the meat and it'll make it impossible to make the roll. So do it kind of gingerly. Work on it from the center out. Don't work from the edges in because then you'll start really splitting up the meat. Work it from the center out, be patient, and you'll eventually get there. So I flattened out the chicken, and now it's time to start seasoning it and putting the filling in it. One of the reasons I put it on the tin foil was to take and cut back on the mess from the seasoning. And for me, it makes it a little bit easier to roll it up, especially with the cheese in. My hands aren't quite as agile and not as sensitive as they used to be, so I need a little bit of help. You may not have a problem with this. I'm going to use some salt, pepper, garlic, and a little bit of Italian seasoning. After that, I'm going to put about 4 slices of thinly sliced ham in there. And I'm going to use about about 2.5 slices of Swiss cheese. I'm only going to cover about half of the chicken because it makes too fat of a roll with meat and cheese in there. For the original recipe, just put the ham in there and you'll be able to make the roll pretty easy, and you won't have to sew it together with toothpicks like I do. Now I'm going to take and put them both in the pan, seam side down, and then sprinkle the top with paprika, or in this case, Old Bay. Then we'll bake them at 350 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes until they're lightly brown on top. So these have already been cooked. I've taken them out of the oven and put them in the fridge for a while, waiting for the wife to come home. And she's home and I've already served her, and this is what they look like. Nice and brown. And it looks sort of like a little jelly roll, doesn't it? Sort of like a little meat roll with the ham and Swiss in there. And like I was talking, you can use these like a hors d'oeuvre. You'll see that with a fairly sharp knife, you can cut them pretty thin. And just like I was talking, you can put that on a small piece of bread or on crackers or something and use a little bit of Dijon or some other sauce like an hors d'oeuvre. So those were chicken and ham pinwheels. We like them around here, and everyone I serve them to like them, but they're not something I make often. But it's worth trying because you may like them too. So I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe next time I'll actually make the rice pudding that I said in my last video that I'd maybe make next time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time on the Random Shit Chef. Bye-bye.